Hello there and welcome to the Bearded Peacock. It's my channel where we talk all things Leeds United, of course. My name is George, of course. Welcome to the channel, everybody. If you haven't already subscribed, do so if you're enjoying the content and like the video and all sorts, whatever you want to do. If you don't want to do that, then fair enough, and you're just here to listen to what I've got to say, then that's fine as well, obviously. So yeah, back into Leeds United, isn't it? You know what I mean? I've had a little bit of frustrations with Leeds, as we all have, over the last few weeks. And, you know, I've tried to avoid it, really, as probably a lot of you guys have as well. But the fact of the matter is, it is the playoffs. It is time to get our heads back into the game, you know, and think about the playoffs. And this is what this video is all about today. I'm going to do a video, sort of a pre-match before the Norwich game on Sunday, but this video is just looking at Leeds United and their opponents, really, and not so in depth, you know, basic information, this sort of thing about the four teams. Really, it's not an in-depth by any means. If you want in-depth information on sort of Southampton, Norwich and West Brom, then go check out one of their fan channels if you want that. You know what I mean? Predominantly, obviously, most people watching this will be mainly Leeds United fans. If you're coming across as a Norwich, Southampton or West Brom fan, then everybody's very welcome. Discuss in the comments, you know, how you feel like the playoffs are going to go. So, you know, we're talking about the playoffs, obviously. Our first game is Sunday at 12 o'clock. Is the first of the playoff fixtures in the Championship. West Brom host Southampton at the Hawthorns at 2:15. So when our game is done, there or thereabouts, they will be kicking off theirs and getting their first leg underway. The second leg for Leeds at Elland Road is Thursday evening. Leeds against Norwich. Southampton against West Brom at St Mary's is Friday the 17th of May, next Friday as of recording. So a little bit of time for Leeds and the others to kind of get themselves sorted and ready for these games. But if we have a look at it going into the game, I mean, let's have a look at Leeds United's playoff record first and foremost. It's not good. Everybody, it's not good. Anybody, let me know if you were at any of these games. I know there was one in the 80s where we didn't win. I think it was a final game. Then you go into 2006, a real letdown after we'd beaten Preston in the two-legged semi-final. I remember going to the first leg at Elland Road. I think it was an Eddie Lewis free kick that levelled it. I think David Nugent got the goal for Preston, and then we went and beat them at Deepdale. I think Rob Hull scored, didn't he? Went to Cardiff. Obviously, Wembley was still being built. The new Wembley, I think, was still being built, or yet to be built. I can't remember what. We didn't play there anyway. You know, and we got beat. It was a disappointing, very disappointing game against Watford. Obviously, they went and hammered us 3-0. It was a non-event, really, for us. It was a real disappointment as we, you know, finished in, you know, second place, if you like, in the playoffs and got destroyed in that final. Wasn't a good one. And then the next season, I think we got relegated, didn't we? So let's hope that doesn't happen this time, you know. This time next year, League One bound. You know, only kidding. I don't think that will happen. But let's wait and see. You never know. Look, and then, you know, further disappointments in League One. Obviously, we got to the final. Can't remember who we beat in the semi-final. Was it Carlisle? It was Carlisle, of course it was. Johnny Howson at Carlisle. That last-minute goal rolled it into the corner past Kieran Westwood. Brilliant goal, and we went through to the final. Obviously lost to Doncaster 1-0 again. This was at Wembley. Horrible game. Lost 1-0. It was off a corner kick. You know, we had to wait for promotion to the Championship again. That time it did eventually come, obviously, in the form of automatic promotion. So. Yeah, and then with further disappointments, I think, in League One before that, obviously we lost to Millwall in the semi-final, and then obviously heartbreak again against Derby County a few years ago, 5 years ago, wasn't it now? 5 years ago, yeah. just heartbreaking stuff, wasn't it? We really should have won that game. Got through the final against Aston Villa. Alternatively as well, almost coincidentally, our playoff rivals West Brom, they were getting beat. They lost in the semi-final that year as well to Aston Villa, who eventually beat Derby in the final and went to the Premier League and haven't looked back since. Obviously, Villa looking like Champions League, maybe looking like Champions League next season for them. Whereas we might be in the Championship. That's the way things swing, isn't it? But yeah, obviously Leeds haven't got a good record. I won't vouch for any of the other teams in the playoffs. I don't really know their playoff records. Like I said, West Brom lost in the playoffs when we did last. I don't know about Norwich and Southampton really, to be honest with you. I think Norwich, a bit of a yo-yo team for some time, probably have had success in the playoffs anyway. I don't know though. Any Norwich fans watching this, let me know how how your record is in the playoffs, and any other team as well. But look, we'll look at the form of the two teams, of the four teams really now, and then we'll look at the sort of fixtures if they were, of the season gone, and then who would get to the final and this sort of thing. So Leeds obviously finished in third on 90 points, Southampton fourth on 87, West Brom fifth on 75, and Norwich sixth on 73. It means that Leeds play Norwich City, a team that we finished 17 points above in the regular season. Over a 46-game season, we finished 17 points ahead of them. We got 6 more wins than Norwich. We have the most wins of the 4 teams in the playoffs, only 1 more than Southampton, who have 26 to our 27. West Brom and Norwich got 21 each in the season. Norwich just marginally lost the most, 15. West Brom lost 13, Southampton 11, and we lost 10 in the end. I think that was the same number that we lost when we got promoted in 2020, to be honest. 90 points would have got us promoted in any other league, any other division, any other championship season, going back, I think, as far as the 80s, actually. It's usually enough. Obviously, Leicester City and Ipswich Town had fantastic seasons. In the end, we finished 6 points behind Ipswich, and those games, some of the games we've thrown were pivotal in the end, and very, very disappointing, from our point of view. But congratulations to Leicester and Ipswich, who eventually got it over the line. I think if we're staying in the Championship next season, it looks a lot weaker than this time round. And to be fair, we did okay, just fell short at the very, very last. And like I said, I've been a bit sort of sulking a little bit, I suppose you could say, over Leeds United, not really wanting to know. But at the end of the day, we're kind of stuck with them, aren't we? As Leeds fans, and you've got to get behind it, get behind the boys, and forget about the 46-game season. It's now a 3-game season, hopefully a 3-game season now for Leeds United, and Norwich City are the opponents, obviously first up. But yeah, if we look at Leeds, then we actually have the worst, even though we finished the best position in the playoffs, what you could possibly do, 3 points ahead of Southampton, even though they beat us on the last game. Leeds are in the worst form, only 4 points won out of the last 5 games. The other 3 teams have actually 6 points from their last 5 games. All 4 teams are not in good form. It's a real lottery, this. Who wants it more? Who wants it more will probably get it. Each of the 4 teams not in good form at all. Like I said, Leeds are probably in the worst amount, the worst form, accrued the least amount of points, 2 points less than all of the other 3 teams. Out of the 4, you'd say that Norwich were probably in the best forms. In the best form, only 6 points accrued, but 3 draws, a win and a loss, compared to Southampton and West Brom's 2 wins and 3 losses in the last 5. Obviously, one of them wins for Southampton was at Ellen Road on the last game of the season. Southampton are the only side to do the double over Leeds United, in the league in the regular season. So You know, do we want to come up against Southampton? Do we want to come up against West Brom? Look, like I said, it doesn't matter what happened, really. It's only a sort of a guideline to look at. But, you know, you don't really know what's going to happen. Do we want to come up against Southampton? I would say probably not, but who knows? It might be third time lucky for Leeds this season with Southampton if we come up against them. Do we want to come against West Brom? Well, there you go. We have to come up against one of them if we're going to win it, but West Brom again seem to have Leeds United's number this season. We drew and lost to West Brom in the regular season. Obviously, they beat us at the Hawthorns 1-0, wasn't it? It was a draw at Ellen Road early on in the season in August time, I think. So, you know, and again, I suppose Norwich are the ones that, even though they're in the best form, you kind of say, hey, actually, we wouldn't mind playing them. Really, lost on the last game of the season. It didn't harm their playoffs hopes. Obviously, it harmed their position, obviously, because West Brom won and they lost. They slipped down to 6th, which means obviously we play them. If West Brom had finished 6th, obviously we would have played them as well. So we play Norwich. It's Farke's former side, obviously David Wagner, which he has history with Leeds United, with Huddersfield Town. You know, we've seen it all this season already. I mean, if we look at the two sides and the two ties, and if it was played over the regular season and who would be in the final at Wembley on the bank holiday, it would be Leeds against Southampton in the final. Leeds over 2 games with Norwich City this season, home and away. We beat them 3-2, a comeback win for Leeds in October at Carrow Road. Chris Somerville was very pivotal to that. And then a 1-0 win, I think it was the end of March. Leeds United beat Norwich. It was January. Gosh, it was all the way back in January we beat them. Gosh, time flies, doesn't it? It really, really does. That feels like 2 minutes ago, doesn't it? Patrick Bamford scored the only goal of the game as we defeated them 1-0 at Ellen Road. Obviously, that would be enough. That would mean Leeds go through 4-2 on aggregate. Southampton, little would, over the 2 games against West Brom in the regular season, they would go through to the final 4-1 on aggregate, a 2-1 win in November at St Mary's. Then they beat West Brom 2-0 later on in the season at the Hawthorns. So they would go through 4-1 on aggregate. So it would be, if it was done on the regular season, a Leeds against Southampton final. But it doesn't really matter, does it? I'm just saying it as a bit of a thing for them. Obviously, if we look at the stats of the teams, I think Leeds, actually, Southampton are the highest scoring side out the 4, 87 goals for Southampton this season to our 81. West Brom and Norwich, on the other hand, Norwich scored 79, West Brom scored 70, but considerably higher goal concessions are that of Southampton and Norwich. Norwich conceded 64, Southampton 63. Leeds conceded the less with 43. West Brom conceded 47. Leeds United conceded a hell of a lot of goals, towards the end of the season. That could have been so much better, really. But we had just with 2 goals shy from the best defence in the league. That accolade went to Leicester City. 41 goals conceded. Yeah, we conceded only 2 more, but it could have been a lot less. We conceded silly goals towards the end of the season, not least at the last game of the season against Southampton. So yeah, I think Southampton would probably fancy playing us again. They seem, like I said, they seem to have our number. Their top scorer, of course, I think was who got the golden boot in the end. I think he did 21 goals. Adam Armstrong, I think he scored on Sunday, didn't he, against Leeds? I think 2 of his 21 goals were scored against Leeds this season. But yeah, obviously a real thorn in our side, a thorn in everybody's side, really, in the Championship this season. Che Adams not far behind him on 16 goals as well. That's a really good return as well, and 4 assists for him. Obviously, we've been linked with him. I think in some way, shape, or form in the last few months as well. I think his contract's coming to an end at Southampton, so potentially if we nip ahead and get promoted above them, then maybe Che Adams is on his way to Leeds. Let's wait and see. West Brom, on the other hand, if you have a look at them, highest goal scorer Brandon Thomas Asante, of course, scored against us at Ellen Road, didn't he? I think he scored against us. No, he didn't score against us at the Hawthorns, but he's a top scorer. Only one goal, only 2 goals since April, though. He's had a bit of a dry spell, not the best, but that just tells you West Brom, compared to the others, don't really score that many goals. Obviously, like I said, they're the less scoring in the whole of the 4 teams there. Brandon Thomas Asante hasn't scored since the 10th of April, so a little bit of a dry spell. They don't score that many. I don't really see them actually getting past Southampton, to be honest. I do think Southampton will be in the final. It's whether we can get past Norwich and go head to head with them. Norwich, on the other hand, obviously, then top goal scorer is Joshua Sargent. Josh Sargent, we were linked with him in the summer. He's really done well. 16 goals this season. And Gabriel Sara's not that far behind him on 13. Now, Sara's a real problem. And he was for us in both of the games against Norwich this season. On Sunday, he's going to be a problem again. 13 goals, 12 assists. He's a real good player. There's obviously there Jonathan Rowe as well, who will be an issue for Leeds as well, I think. Come Sunday and of course next Thursday. Really got to watch out for him as well. But yeah, a little bit of a rundown of the teams there for you, ins and outs, different little bits of stats for you to just set you up and look at the the way that, not the way they play, just the key personnel, maybe in the top scorers and all that kind of caper. Not that any of it matters really, does it? Come the games, it's a little mini tournament. Hopefully Leeds United can get on top of it all. But thank you very much for watching. Marching on together. I'll see you on the next one.